So we're right in the middle of the study, and I can't really share a lot of details because we haven't really presented formally or published the results yet. We've got a ways to go yet. But I will just share that the objective of the study is to really determine if a ketogenic intervention can have a positive effect on scores or self-reported scores of depression. And this is primarily in students at Ohio State University who have major depression at baseline. So we've enrolled about a half dozen subjects so far, and the early data, which involves surveys of depression, we're doing a lot more advanced testing too that'll come out later, such as MRI and some structural and functional MRI, blood work, and so forth. But as far as our primary outcome, which was just depression scores, all of our participants had major reductions in depression that happened quite early on and were sustained out to 12 weeks. So even with a half dozen subjects, we have a very strong signal, which we kind of pitched this as a pilot study, principle sort of thing, to then help inform a larger study that probably be a randomized controlled clinical trial, maybe a comparison trial to a Mediterranean diet or some other treatment. There are several principles and characteristics of a ketogenic diet that we think are really important and critical to make the eating patterns safe and effective, and most importantly, sustainable for folks. This is more of a hybrid approach, but our kind of two overarching goals with the ketogenic intervention is because we want these to be translatable. We want these to, these interventions, we're testing both feasibility in many ways, can people stay on these diets, and also efficacy. The two things that are really important for us is, number one, people have to enjoy the diets. I mean, there has to be a certain amount of pleasure associated with it. So we're trying our best to make the diets, enjoyable for folks. So we're catering to their food preferences and so forth. Now, obviously, there's caveats. I mean, we want them to be pleasurable, but they have to follow the principles. And one of the big principles is they have to be in ketosis. Yeah. Otherwise, it's not a ketogenic.
Defines the diet. Yeah.
So, and that's primarily related to their carbohydrate and protein intake. So we're customizing that to the individual because people vary. But other than that, we let people kind of choose their own food sources and so forth, and then we'll provide education on a personalized level and adjustments if needed if they're not in ketosis.